Hey everybody, this is Nick Mayhew, three-time gold medalist and three-time world record holder, and you're listening to Power 98.5.
We don't play the social game. We are social. Power 98.5. You're listening to Power 98.5, powered by United Angels Dream, your number one resource for public relations, entertainment, and multimedia. Contact them today at unitedangelsdream.com.
Hi, this is Dan Aykroyd. He's progressive. He's beautiful. He's thoughtful. He's intelligent. He's powerful. He's positive. He is Stephen Cuoco on Power 98.5 Satellite Radio.
Empowering listeners from the US to the UK. Live on air with Stephen Cuoco.
Yeah, it's one of those afternoons. It's beautiful, it's gorgeous outside. We're in between fall and winter. You know, maybe some days it's going to feel a little bit like spring. You know, we can still get some warm days here, even during fall. But, you know, is everyone getting ready for the holidays? Because it doesn't feel like the holidays to me. It's nothing bad. It just is very, very different. I've been very blessed to receive a lot of opportunities. I'm going to have, for the first time, a three-time gold medalist, silver medalist, one silver, three-time world record holder, Olympian, Nick Mayhew is joining the United Angels Dream family, and I'm going to have the honor to represent him. We're going to be doing great things. I'm looking at producing his radio show that he's going to have here exclusively on Power 98.5, looking into, you know, fashion and modeling, television, and he's going to be writing a book. He was just recently interviewed. His episode re-aired last night at 6:00 p.m. Eastern Time, looking to re-air it again. He is currently in New York. He's a 25-year-old sensation. You heard him at the intro, and I am very proud of him, and I'm looking forward to working with him, as well as two other people that will be part of the team to help get him some great endorsements and sponsorships. One is an attorney. So with that being said, you all know it. It's been, I believe, since June. My dear friend Nathan Spiteri, we've been looking to get him on live on air with Stephen Cuoco on Power 98.5. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from here and all around the world. I'm Stephen Cuoco, and today we have Nathan Spiteri. He's a filmmaker, actor, and writer. He is a sexual abuse survivor, activist, and advocate. We're going to be playing one of his reels from his 2018 acting reel, and we're going to find some other golden nuggets to play of where he's been at, what he's doing in a world of acting, what's been going on with his recent book tour, any upcoming drops that he would like to share with us exclusively here on Power 98.5. So with that being said, welcome to the stage. Welcome to the show. Live on air with Stephen Cuoco, and we've got Nathan Spiteri. Good morning, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, mate. Thank you so much for that lovely introduction. Very nice.
You deserve it. So right now I'm on the West Coast. You are on the East Coast. I know our weather is very different. You just got back to New York City. What's happening out there?
I did just get back to New York City. It's a beautiful day here today, actually. It was not too bad the last few days, but today is gorgeous. And yeah, it's nice being back. I was in Australia, in my homeland in Australia. Just had my book released there through an Australian publishing house, and did the tour there and the press and the media, and got the book out there, and it did very, very well. So now I'm back here in the States, and I've been living in New York for the past, I think, 14 years now. So I'm pretty much a New Yorker. Been here, 14 years. So I got back here in end of August, around September. So now we're starting to do the big book release here, get it out here, start doing the press, the book tour, and some exciting stuff happening as a result of that, which I'm really looking forward to.
We're going to go into that. So this is a memoir. The title of the book is called Toy Cars. It was published by Three Little Birds Press, as you said, in Australia, released in Australia in May of 2020, and then released here on the 27th of October of this year in the States. And now it's available everywhere online. Bookstores like Amazon, Booktopia, Book Depository, Barnes & Noble, and Target. How do you feel with this mass exposure you've got now with this book?
It's kind of surreal, and it's, as exciting as it is, it's pretty scary as well, because my whole life is in this book, and it's not a pretty life. It's been a tough one, and for a story like this, if you're going to tell a story about sexual abuse and really educate the world and educate the audience and the reader, you need to go into full detail. And that's what I've done with this book. I've gone deep, I've gone heavy, I've gone real into my relationships with my family, my parents, and, with this man who abused me for 5 years. And just as a result of that, the Stockholm Syndrome, the lies, the grooming, the manipulation. So I go deep and I go dark. And it's scary, but I'm getting nothing but praise because of it. All my reviews have been amazing, and people saying this book is going to change the world. This book is going to save thousands of lives. This book is going to help, millions of people. So it's mixed emotions. It's a bit of everything.
What have you found to be the most rewarding through everything that you've been through to where you are now?
Is just, when it all started through an article in Australia. I think back in 2018, I had a big article come out about me and about my story in a national newspaper, and it pretty much went national throughout Australia. As a result of that, I got this book deal. But over the past 3 years, with me coming out about my story, and I'm one of the first, I guess, kind of males literally in the world, I've been told, who has gone into such detail and such depth about his abuse. Because for men, we may touch on the subject, but we never go deep. But the best thing that's come out of it, and the most fulfilling thing that's come out of it for me, is the fact that I've had literally hundreds of people, men and women, reach out to me on Instagram or Facebook or on my website saying, Nathan, you've just saved my life. You've given me the power now to tell my story. You've allowed me to find peace, to find closure, to move forward. I'm no longer a victim, but I'm a survivor. So, that's been the most fulfilling thing. That's why I've done this. And I say this in my book, and I say this, and I've said this from the very beginning. If I can save one person's life, if I can stop one person from killing themselves, from the drugs, the violence, the abuse that I went through, then my job is done. And the fact that I've had thousands or hundreds and thousands of people reach out to me saying, you've saved me, you've helped me, thank you so much, you're an inspiration. That's what this is about. And this story, it's, yes, it's my story in this book, but this story is so much bigger than me, because this, it is a pandemic. The whole sexual abuse thing is a pandemic. It's so much bigger than me and my story. But if I'm the facilitator, if I'm the one who has to start the conversation, get the ball rolling, then so be it. But the fact that I've had the amount of people reach out to me already is what's the best thing for me, the most important thing.
Mm-hmm. What have you done when it comes to your own emotional mental health? What has been the revelation and a realization of what you've come to really embrace within your own self-empowerment as a man and as someone who has taken your power back?
Is to embrace me for the person that I am. Yes, I've been through it. Years and years of abuse and drugs and violence and addictions. But, I did go through the whole toxic masculinity thing where I kept it a secret for 25 years. I didn't tell a soul. I was a strong and, fuck that. And I can get through this, and I'm better than that. And, I'll just move forward and I'll just, push it so far deep inside. But coming out and telling my best friend for the very first time, having her help me find a therapist. So going through therapy, group therapy, then AA, Narcotics, Sex Anonymous, just discovering what I've been through, what I was and who I am today is the most important thing. And realizing that, one of the biggest things I learned in therapy was that my therapist would say to me, Nathan, if you could go back and speak to your 8-year-old self, what would you tell him? What would you say to your 8-year-old self? And I'm like, I don't know. And this was all here in New York. And my therapist was a tough lady, and she would kick my ass and, really push me on these issues, on these matters, and trying to get the answers. And then it just it came to me, and it just popped into my head that it wasn't your fault. As soon as I discovered that, I come to that realization that it wasn't my fault. The weight started lifting off my shoulders. It was like an onion. You're peeling back those layers, and you're discovering more and more about yourself. And for me now, the fact that, we always talk about toxic masculinity and being a man and being masculine, what I've discovered in myself and what I've discovered through my trauma and through my past and through the person that I am today is that I'm more of a man today than I ever was, because I am able to cry. I am able to communicate. I am able to tell my story. I am able to share my feelings of who I am, what I went through, how I'm feeling today. And if I'm depressed, if I'm stressed, if I'm, suicidal, if I'm whatever I am, I'm able to talk about it. I'm able to open up. And for me, the most important thing, and this goes for anyone, is making sure I surround myself with the right people, making sure I have that support network around me that I know are going to be there just to sit and listen. Because most of us, all we want is for someone to listen to us when we have something going on, when we're going through whatever it is that we're going through, whatever form of trauma. So for me, just being able to ground myself, being able to have that support network around me, whether it is my therapist, whether it is my family, whether it is my friends or whoever it is, just making sure I have that support network around me and knowing who I am and never forgetting that, never going back into the victim mode, being the survivor that I am, not going back and feeling sorry for myself. That's been the most important thing for me on my journey of discovery and journey of growth.
The most common I'm trying to sort out here. It's what is the, my goodness, it's, I'm having a moment here, articulating, putting this into words, because it really isn't that simple. When someone
just say it and
when someone is sexually abused, what I have learned and experienced from when I worked as a grief counselor is the common tone is that it can really fuck up a person's sexual identity and their relationship when it comes to self-pleasure, masturbation, connections with other people, emotionally, mentally, vulnerability. Have you found that you would agree with that? And what has that done to you when it comes to self-pleasure, self-gratification, body image, identity, sexuality, and then your relationship, working, like having a healthy, to the best of your ability, relationship, sexual relationship with someone that you care about and love? What has that done?
Yeah. All right. That's a good one.
Do you see why I was like stumbling? Like,
yeah. So I'll tell you my story. I'll tell you what happened to me. So for me, it went on from 8 years old through to about 12 years old. So I just turned 8. It was in Australia. I was at the local swimming pool with my sister. She left early. I was in the changing rooms, getting changed, about to go home. This man followed me in there and raped me in the shower. And the first thing he ever said to me was that if I tell anyone, he'll kill me, he'll kill my family. So I didn't tell a soul. I didn't tell a soul for 25 years. So our relationship was a very violent relationship at first. He would slap me about the head. He would, shove me up against the wall and choke me out and, just beat me up and just, rape me violently, if I can say that. Through all that, there was a lot of the grooming, the manipulation, and him saying to me, I love you. Everyone else hates you. Your parents hate you. Your brother and sister hate you. If you ever say anything, everyone's going to think you're a liar. You'll go to jail. You'll never see me again. So that went on through at about 12 years old. When I was 12, he kind of, and I say this, he abandoned me. He disappeared out of my life. And in that time, I had fallen, I had developed a Stockholm Syndrome type relationship with this guy. And Stockholm Syndrome is when you feel love, feel feelings for your abuser, for the person, the perpetrator. So from 12 through to about 15 years old, when he left me, I'm like, well, who the fuck am I? Where am I? What do I belong? What am I? Am I gay? Am I straight? This guy said I was special. So am I special? All my other friends never had this done to them. So I guess I must be special. And then from 15 years old through to, for a good 10, 15 years, I was going to gay clubs, cruise lounges, to sex clubs, picking up men, doing what I was doing with them, and then I would beat them up, bash them, rob them, all in the meantime trying to have a relationship with a woman, because I was always attracted to women, but I needed the sex with men, because for the first 9 years of my sexual life, all I had was sex with men, and I was being raped by men. So throughout my whole sexual life, people would always ask me, are you gay? Are you straight? What are you? This, that, and the other. And I've never put a label on it. I've never said I'm this or I'm that. But what I did know was that all the sex I had with men was, I just needed to feel that feeling again. There was never any intimacy, never any touching, any love, any kissing, anything like that. It was just the act. I needed to feel the act, because the act is all I knew. And that was all I knew for 9 years. And then I first had sex with a girl when I was 17. And I wanted to hold her. I wanted to touch her. I wanted to kiss her. I wanted to caress her. I wanted to do everything with her. But I didn't know how. And as much as I would try to let these women in, I would build that wall, push them away. I couldn't trust. I couldn't love. And I would always end up going back to men just for that sex. So, self-pleasure. There was a lot of that when I was younger, just so I didn't have to deal with women, just so I didn't have to deal with men, because I was so confused and I didn't know who I was and what I was and where I was in the world sexually and even just mentally, emotionally. And my vice was that, for my body image and everything else, was that, and also as a form of therapy for me before I knew therapy, was that I would go to the gym every day and work out. I was always very fit. I always had the six-pack. I was always ripped, if you can say that, or toned. And that was my way of just feeling good about myself. That was my way of kind of just understanding who I was, because, every time I had sex with men and then was violent with them, that was my fuck you to the world. That was my way of getting my power back. That was my way of feeling alive. So there was a lot of confusion there. There was a lot of, I don't know where I belong. I don't know who I belong with. I know I want to be with women and I want to love women, but I don't know how. And I was addicted to the sex with men. I was addicted to that violence, because that was all I knew and that was all I wanted. So it was a very confusing time and a very confusing, time of my life. And now I am straight. I'm not dating anyone at the moment, but I only have relationships with women, and I haven't had sex with a man in a while. I haven't been violent with a man in Jesus. I came out about this in 2010. And I started getting help since in 2010, therapy and AA and all that stuff. So it's been, that long since I've been violent and everything else. So it's, it has been a few years, but, I'm not going to lie. It's always there. It's always in the back of my head. I still think about it. I still sometimes crave it. I still sometimes want it, because you're never going to be cured. I'm never going to be cured. I'm never going to be normal. It's always going to be there. It's what happened to me, what I lived through, what I went through. It's a part of my DNA. It's ingrained in me. It's a part of who I am. And there's no just kind of saying, all right, I'm done with that now. It's time to move on. And that was a part of my life, but I can forget about that because it's always there. And I talk in great depth about this in my book and go into real, heavy detail and descriptions and in the book. So it was a tough time and my sexuality and even now today, it's tough sometimes being in a relationship and trying to get through it and trying to open up and communicate and love and learn. But it's an everyday thing, and I'm growing every day. I'm learning every day from it. And that's all I can do is just move, one step forward every day.
I appreciate the candor. I mean, that's deep. It's deep. It's real. And have you found that your book and your testimony has helped at least one person? Has someone come to you and said, thank God for helping me. Thank God for reading your book. Thank God for receiving your book. What's the feedback been like?
Yeah, I was actually a little worried. I was prepared for the trolls and the online haters, but to be honest, touch wood, I haven't had any yet. I haven't had any, and all the response from, people in Australia, people here in the States. I've had a lot of response from people in Europe, and particularly a lot of Indian boys. A lot of Indian people, Indian men have reached out to me saying, Nathan, again, you've saved my life because you're the very first person I've told. You've given me clarity on what happened to me. So I know the book is getting out there. I know the book is reaching the right people, and it's making, it is making a difference to these people. And, but it makes a difference to people, even people who haven't been abused and raped and through what I've been through have read it and said, Nathan, wow, I've just learned so much about myself. The way I look about life is differently. The way I look at my children, the way I speak to my young boys or my young daughter is different just because of reading your book. And in the beginning of the book, in the preface in the book, I say that this isn't just a book about sexual abuse. This is a book for anyone who's been through any kind of trauma, any kind of PTSD, mental illness, domestic violence, sexual abuse, because trauma is all relative. It's all about how you deal with your trauma. Some people, are strong and can get through it and move forward. Others can't, and others get stuck in it and fall into it and do self-harm or harm others. So I've had nothing but praise and nothing but great reviews from people and people saying, Nathan, this book is, amazing. And I hate saying that because it's my book and I wrote it, and I don't want to big note myself or anything like that. But, the responses are out there, the reviews are out there, and it's been very satisfying having people reach out and be so nice to me and tell me that this book has helped them dramatically and this book has changed their life. So, like I said in the beginning of our interview, that's why I've done it. If I can change one person's life, if I can help one person, then I've done the right thing. If I can do it to thousands of people, even better. And as a result of this book, like I was saying earlier, there's a lot of other things coming now and that I can expand on that can help, really get the story out there and really start the conversation and educate the people and male sexual abuse is still such a taboo subject, but it is such a huge thing that goes on in the world that we still turn a blind eye to, that we still don't want to know about and don't want to talk about because it's about boys and men are strong and men should just get over it and move on. And, this doesn't happen to men, so let's not even think about it or talk about it. So it's, being the first one to really come out about this and tell this story and start the conversation. Like I was saying, it's exciting, but it's very scary because it's my life and I'm really putting it out there and it's open to negativity. It's open to these assholes who are, going to troll me and talk shit about me and whatnot. But, you know, what I've been through, the way I feel about that is what I've been through and lived through in my life. If you want to call me an asshole, if you want to call me a homophobe, if you want to say I deserve to be raped, you know, go fuck yourself, because what I've been through is so much more than some words.
I truly believe, and this is just through my reality of my life, is that across the board, and you are absolutely correct, but through the reality of your story and stories alike, and what seems to be a common thread, more specifically to speak here in the States, is that when you think of sexual abuse and know of sexual abuse of happening to a man, one of the biggest things, especially once again here in the United States, is there is an identity struggle that in the entertainment industry, it is still said and to be believed, and I still hear it, gay does not sell. Bisexuality does not sell. LGBT is still boxed in with a huge stigma. LGBT community still carries the stigma of the identification of AIDS and promiscuity. And if you were to hear that someone, if a man were to have a sexually transmitted disease or anything related that could be did he have a gay act? Was he with a man? Was he in a threesome? What was going on? So anything sexual abuse related is still pointed to the direction that either the person is gay or could be gay or could have turned out gay, confused. And the public doesn't want that. You know, they really don't. They want to know that whatever man they're talking about, from sports to an author to whoever, they want to hope that he is heterosexual, because the idea that straight power is real power.
Yeah.
Straight power is real power. So things are changing little by little. But what's most important is what I hear from your testimony is that it is not about sexuality. It's not about Nathan. It's not about anyone else when it comes to what sort of genitalia do you have. The question is what is your spirit? What is the tone? What is the vibration? What is the movement of who and what you are? And your book is going to help many people consciously and subconsciously, as it already has, for people to find and to express, not just find their truth and to express their truth. That's why we're here today. That's why you're with us here live on air with Stephen Cuoco on Power 98.5. We have Nathan Spiteri, a filmmaker, actor, and writer. He's a sexual abuse survivor. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. This is what I hear. This is why you are with us today. This is why your story and your experience and your testimony is beyond profound, Nathan, is because you are still touching on subjects that people still have a difficult time to not just to address, but to have a simple conversation about. They can easily have a conversation about abortion, contraception, no sex before marriage. It's a sin to masturbate. Homosexuality is a sin. But what is a person supposed to do if a person is raped and they get pregnant? Do they really need to keep getting blamed? If a person is sexually violated, why do they initially and immediately need to be labeled and possibly judged of, oh my goodness? Yeah. Now their sexuality needs to be questioned.
Yeah. And I think it all just comes down to education. It all comes down to society and who we are as a people and what we listen to and what we, what influences us. And that's why I think social media is such a powerful tool, but such a scary tool as well, because there is so much good on social media. There is so much positivity, but then there is so much negativity and there's so much bullshit and there's so much hate on social media as well that a lot of people get caught up in it. So for me to come out and have this conversation and talk about my life and talk about my past and talk about sexuality and talk about being raped and talk about toxic masculinity and shame and being a victim and people don't want to know about it because it's gonna ruin their day. It's gonna ruin their day of rainbows and buttercups and how life is so perfect on Instagram but it's not reality. And that's why I think that's one of the big issues and problems with the world is that people don't want to do the work on themselves because they're afraid of what they're going to discover. They're afraid of what's going to come up for them. And they're going to realize, or they're afraid that the life that they are living is not the life that they really want to live, but they live in this bubble. They've got the great job. They've got the great girlfriend or boyfriend. They've got the money, but it doesn't bring them love. It doesn't bring them joy. It doesn't bring them happiness, but they'll continue to live it because that's the way they think society is supposed to be, where we're supposed to live. We're supposed to have this great job and great life and great this and the other. And yes, we are, but you need to be happy in doing that. And that's one of the big things I've discovered in doing the work on myself is that, whether I make $20,000 a year or $20 million a year, all I want is peace because I've never had peace. All I want is love because I've never had love. And all I want is joy because joy is from within. Happiness is, yes, I've just bought a new car, so I'm happy, but are you happy? Are you deeply happy within yourself? And I'm sure, 95% of the population isn't. And especially today when it comes to COVID and mental illness and just what we're going through as a society, we need to change the narrative. We need to start having these conversations. We need to start educating ourselves on the important things in life and what we're actually really going through. And yes, you'll see a man on the street. And yes, he could be, addicted to heroin, or he lives on the street, or whatever the situation is. But what got him to that? That's what we don't ask ourselves, and that's what we don't want to know. Is we'll automatically say, "Oh, yeah, he's a junkie," or he lives on the street. Fuck that guy. But was he abused? Was he raped his whole life? Was he a victim? What did he go through to get to that point? But we don't want to know that. We just want to straight away just label instead of doing the work and doing the research and educating ourselves on these simple matters, on things like sexual abuse and male sexual abuse and what we actually go through as a victim of sexual abuse or of rape or of any form of trauma. But yeah, like I was saying, we don't want to educate ourselves on that. We just want to label straight away.
How have you translated your experience and your empowerment and revelation into acting and producing, or filmmaking more specifically?
For me now, it's about telling real stories, true stories. As much as I, love the next Marvel movie like anyone else, I'm not going to get anything out of it except for 2 hours of enjoyment. But for me now, it's about telling real life stories about real life people and real life issues, and to go deep, to go independent, to go raw, to go real, because that's where we're going to inspire people. That's where people are going to learn and really look inside themselves and do the work on themselves. So for my past, I've been to hell and back. That the heaviness that has happened to me is now I'm going to turn that heaviness into something good. So, what happened to me happened for a reason. And the reason why it happened to me, and I truly believe this, the reason why it happened to me is to educate the world, is to save a life, is to make a difference. So for me, if I can tell stories about abuse and about, domestic violence or about mental illness, that's what I want to do. If I can help change the narrative, if I can help change the idea that people have of someone who's been through sexual abuse, of a junkie on the street, or of whatever the situation is, that's what I want to do. So I want to use my past, my power. My past is my power, and my past is going to help me make a difference and move forward. And, there's already talk of turning my book into a 6 to 8 part TV series. A movie script has already been written about it, but we're now thinking of doing it as a 6 to 8 part TV series for Netflix or Amazon or a streaming service, because that's where it's at these days. It's the limited series, or it's it's these shows that are really making an impact. So, there's talk of that, and I've been asked to host a 6-part documentary series where it's men talking to men about men's issues, about shame, about toxic masculinity, about victim versus survivor, because there's no show like that, or there's nothing like that for men out there who don't have a voice, who are unable to talk about their past, and who don't know how to educate themselves, who they don't have an answer to what happened to them. So, as a result of my past, of my abuse, there are so many bigger and brighter and better things on the horizon. So, I've been through it. I've really been through it, and I was shooting heroin, I was selling my body to sex. I and it's all in the book. But everything I've been through, I don't know if I would change, because it's made me who I am today, and it's given me the knowledge that I do have today, and it's given me this thought process and this idea of life and what I want from it, and just the simplicity of it, and how, as fucked up as the world is today, but life is beautiful. Life really is beautiful, but we complicate it with the noise in the back of our head, and we don't want to live simply. We want to live above our means, and it's just about going back to simpleness. It's just about going back to what we really need in life, and for me, it's just love and love and life and happiness and joy. So for me, if I can give back to people now through my work, through my storytelling, through my books, through my acting, then so be it. That's my journey. This was never meant to be my journey. I never wanted to be a writer. I never wanted to tell this story. But, it's like sliding doors. I can go through this door and God knows where I'd be. I'd probably be dead. I'd be in jail somewhere. I don't know where I'd be, but I opened the other door, and life has presented me with opportunities now, and I'm taking them with both hands and really running with it.
I would like to go and play a clip here from one of your reels. I'm going to keep you on the phone. Well, you're going to, meaning I usually mute the call so people know, so we can go ahead and go into it. But I also at times like to have the talent or the person, like with you, Nathan. So if there's anything you want to share or say, just so you know that where we are at moving through this, and just give us your thoughts of, what was going on in your life at that time when you did this clip, this film, and anything you would like to share or insight as an actor, as someone who is very knowledgeable and experienced in film and writing. So let's go ahead and play this.
Are you all right?
I'll let you know in an hour.
Oh, okay.
I know just what to do with you.
Really?
Yeah.
And I have to tell you that I don't like anything complicated.
She gets all of this,
And I get a free ride with lots of perks.
I think we both know Alicia deserves better than you.
You're a smart guy. So, you're gonna keep your mouth shut about me. I can't lose her. I can't lose her.
Sophie! Sophie! Sophie!
There's plenty of lands we still haven't traveled. And there's still some life left in them old bones.
What thought goes through your mind hearing that? Those different experiences.
Different experience, because some of them were fun and lighthearted, and there were others there, especially when that eerie music came on and I was screaming out Sophie. That was I played a father of a young girl who was just murdered in a school massacre. So for me to go to those places to really feel those things, and I guess, I have my past to think about that. I do like doing these heavier, these more real, these more, independent and in your face kind of movies and scenes and stuff, because you want me to feel that pain and that angst and that, that hurt. I can go there, and it does bring up a lot of stuff from my past. So I just need to be careful. I need to be smart about it and just do the work properly, really learn and learn who I'm playing and learn about the character that I'm going to be, and do the research and do the backstory so that I don't take it home with me. That's why it is also fun being able to just do these lighthearted scenes or these lighthearted shows or movies, because, I can play the boy next door or the guy that's having an affair or this, that, and the other, and I can let it go because it's easy and it's fun. But the heavier scenes, which I do enjoy and I do want to do and I do prefer, I just need to make sure I'm able to let them go once we call cut, once we're done at the end of the day and we can go home, that I can just leave it on set. And I learned my love for acting, and I fell in love with acting, and I talk about this in the book, was when I was a kid. When I was sitting at home, when I wasn't with this man or at school or whatever, all I would do was just sit in my parents' room or in a spare room and just watch movie after movie after movie and TV show after TV show after TV show, to get away from my family, to get away from my brother and sister and away from my parents, and just be alone. And I would lose myself in these movies. I would lose myself in these TV shows, and I would want to be these people. So that's where my love for acting and writing and storytelling came from. So I guess it started from a very young age. But for me, it's just about, making sure I do the work on myself, continuing to do the work on myself as an actor and as a person going through trauma and still learning more about myself. And, I, as I said before, writing this book was something I never wanted to do. I never thought I could do. But it's funny because I topped English at school, and I loved writing essays, but writing a story or writing scripts was like, Jesus, no, I can't do that. But then that love just kind of came out of me the more I found peace within myself and peace about my past. So it was all meant to come together, so to speak.
I want to thank you, Nathan Spiteri, for being with us here live on air with Stephen Cuoco. This episode will air Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let all your friends know it will be available on the Power 98.5 satellite radio, iOS or Android app. You can tune in on Alexa. You can listen live on mytunerradio.com, Live Radio FM. And most importantly, stay home where it's all at, and that's Power 98.5. You can listen to it on the Power 98.5 website at power985.com. Nathan Spiteri, filmmaker, actor, and writer, a sexual abuse survivor, activist, and advocate. Nathan, where would you like everyone to reach out to you, to connect with you? And we all know you can purchase Toy Cars, published by Three Little Birds Press, and it's available on Amazon Books, Booktopia, Book Depository, Barnes & Nobles, and Target. Give us some drops here.
Yeah, I guess the best way to reach out to me is on Instagram. That's probably what I'm on the most at the moment. I'm on Facebook a little, but that's just more to talk to my family and Messenger, talk to my family in Australia. But reach out to me on Instagram. My handle is @NathanSpiteri, which is simple. My website is www.nathanspiteri.com. So reach out to me on those two, but mainly on Instagram. That's where you'll get me.
And that's Nathan Spiteri, NathanSpiteri. Spiteri, and you can go to nathanspiteri.com, find out more about him, get involved, go to his bio, learn more about Toy Cars, recent press, stories, resources, and you can contact him, book him. And Nathan, any upcoming projects, any more book tours? I know you said that there's talks of film, possibly Netflix and everything. Definitely, I would love to be part of that project. So when it does come and there's a distribution company, a production company, you're going to do a sizzle reel, whatever, let me know.
Definitely, I will do.
I would love to be part of that. So any upcoming book tours?
I will. It'll all be on my Instagram. So what we're doing, we've just dropped the book now in the States, and a lot of big interviews coming up, like yourself, and we're doing some TV and paper interviews. So then through that, we will start doing a national tour around the States. But get me on Instagram because all my dates and everything will be on that. I don't have any specific dates at the moment, but as they come to us, we will let you all know.
I appreciate that. Nathan, thank you for being with us today. Nathan Spiteri, filmmaker, actor, and writer. Please go to nathanspiteri.com, and his last name is spelled Spiteri. nathanspiteri.com. Nathan, it has been an honor, a pleasure. You can listen to this again, let your family, friends know. Friday, November 19th. I had to look at the calendar real quick because it's going fast. November 19th, Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Nathan, thank you for sharing your story. You're really
Absolutely,
transforming many people's lives.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for having me. I really do appreciate it. I will definitely let you know when things are moving forward with everything, with the book and the movie, and I'd love to have you be a part of it.
You call me anytime. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in live on air with Stephen Cuoco on Power 98.5. I want to thank you for your love and your support, and really a big shout out to Nathan Spiteri. He's doing great things. Get the book, Toy Cars, Amazon Books, Booktopia, Book Depository, Barnes & Noble, and Target. Go to nathanspiteri.com for everything Nathan Spiteri. Have a great day, everyone.
Friend us on your socials and let's connect.